Keanu Reeves has made some of the most controversial career decisions in Hollywood. He turned down lucrative roles, chose uncertainty over security, and ignored the industry's rules. While others chased guarantees, he walked away from them. Behind these choices lies a quiet but powerful philosophy built on patience and risk without certainty. To hear the full story, watch it now on our channel Before the Money. Keanu Reeves's career looks strange if you view it through the eyes of the system. It doesn't follow clear rules. There is no perfect ladder, no constant upward movement, no obsession with grabbing every opportunity. There are pauses. There are disappearances. There are decisions that look like mistakes from a business point of view. And yet, this is exactly what makes his path so compelling. At one point, Keanu was at the absolute peak. Huge salaries, iconic status, offers that most people would never refuse. Any career advisor would say, now take everything. Secure your position. Maximize your income. And that was precisely the moment when he started doing the opposite. He turned down roles that promised millions. He chose smaller projects. He shared his salary with the crew so a film could exist at all. He disappeared for years without explanations, without excuses, without trying to stay visible. To the industry, this looked irrational. To the market, it looked like wasted opportunity. But behind these choices, there was neither naivety nor charity. There was a philosophy, quiet, unspoken, almost invisible. Keanu never tried to become a correctly successful person. He didn't treat his career as a domination strategy. He didn't see life as a project that had to be optimized at any cost. His decisions seemed to come from a different question. Not, how much will I earn, but, will I be able to live with this? That difference changes everything. Most people, especially in unstable times, live by accumulation, money, status, recognition, as protection from fear. Keanu's path shows another logic. He constantly seemed to ask himself whether success was worth the price of inner betrayal. This became especially clear during the long pauses in his career, when he vanished from big projects and was written off. He didn't rush back. He didn't grab the first offer. He allowed himself to be outside the game. And for modern culture, that is almost unacceptable. The system rewards those who are always visible, always proving their value, always afraid to stop. Keanu wasn't afraid. This is not a romantic story about rejection. It's a story about understanding that sometimes the biggest risk is not losing money, but losing yourself. His philosophy is not built around winning, but around preserving inner balance. He seems to know that you can win a career and lose your life, or you can temporarily lose the market and remain whole. That's why his path resonates with those who are not at the top, but still walking without applause, without guarantees, without light. Because this story isn't about glamour, it's about the road, and about the choice to keep walking it without destroying yourself from the inside. Modern culture teaches a simple rule. If you can earn more, you should. If an opportunity brings money, visibility, or status, turning it down looks foolish. We are told that security comes from accumulation, and that saying yes is always safer than saying no. But this logic quietly shapes our fears more than our freedom. Keanu Reeves's choices challenge this belief. Not because money doesn't matter, but because it was never the final metric. He seemed to understand something uncomfortable. Maximizing income often requires minimizing honesty. The more you chase outcomes, the easier it becomes to silence your own limits, values, and exhaustion. Refusing certain roles wasn't about pride. It was about alignment. About knowing when a project would demand too much internally, even if it offered more externally. In a world obsessed with growth, choosing enough instead of more looks like weakness. In reality, it requires rare clarity. Most people don't burn out from failure. They burn out from endless compromise, from living in permanent tension between who they are and who they pretend to be. Money can soften that pain, but it cannot remove it. Sometimes it only makes the distance harder to ignore. Keanu's path suggests another definition of strength, the ability to pause without panic, to step away without collapsing into fear, to trust that worth is not erased by invisibility. This is especially difficult in a system where attention equals existence. For those living in survival mode, this idea feels almost dangerous. When money is tight, refusing opportunities sounds irresponsible. And yet there is a quiet truth here. If every decision is made only out of fear, fear becomes permanent. No amount of income fully dissolves it. Strength in this philosophy is not loud confidence. It is the ability to endure uncertainty without becoming someone you don't recognize. To accept temporary loss in exchange for long-term inner stability. This doesn't guarantee success, but it protects meaning. That is why this story matters beyond fame. It speaks to anyone walking through a season where survival and dignity are in constant negotiation. When the question isn't how to win faster, but how to keep going without breaking something essential inside. Sometimes the bravest choice is not acceleration, but restraint. Not more, but enough. Not victory today, but the ability to continue tomorrow. In a world that rewards noise, silence is often mistaken for weakness. Visibility is treated as proof of value. Constant updates, explanations, and presence become a form of survival. Disappearing is seen as failure. Pausing is interpreted as losing relevance. And yet silence can be a deliberate choice, not a collapse. Keanu Reeves never explained his absences. He didn't announce breaks or justify them. He didn't rush to reassure the public that he was still here. This refusal to perform continuity is rare. It goes against the fear that if you stop speaking, you will be forgotten. Silence in this sense is not emptiness, it is space. Space to recover, to think, to remember who you are without the noise of expectation. Many people are afraid of this space because it removes external validation. Without applause, the question becomes personal. The system depends on constant output. It teaches that worth must be proven repeatedly, or it disappears. Silence threatens that logic. It suggests that value can exist without immediate confirmation. That presence does not require performance. For someone like Keanu, silence became protection, a way to step out of roles that were not his own, a way to avoid being shaped entirely by demand. By refusing to fill every gap with explanation, he kept something intact. Most people fear silence because it confronts them with uncertainty. When you stop speaking, stop posting, stop proving, you face the possibility that nothing will happen, that no one will call, that the world will move on. This fear keeps many people running long after they are exhausted. But silence can also be a filter. Those who remain interested after the noise fades are often the ones who see you, not the image. Silence separates attention from connection. This philosophy matters far beyond fame. For anyone rebuilding life from uncertainty, silence can be survival. A pause before collapse. A moment to breathe when the pressure becomes constant. It is not quitting, it is conserving strength. Sometimes power looks like stepping back, like refusing to explain, like trusting that you still exist even when no one is watching. Every system depends on predictability. It rewards those who behave in expected ways and punishes those who don't. Careers are easier to manage when people chase growth, visibility, and validation. Those patterns keep the machine running smoothly. People like Keanu Reeves disrupt this order, not by rebellion but by indifference. When someone refuses to maximize profit, refuses constant exposure, and refuses to explain themselves, the system loses leverage. It cannot pressure what does not respond to fear. The system speaks through labels. When someone steps away, they are called washed up, irrelevant, or past their peak. These words are not neutral. They are tools. They are designed to pull people back into obedience through shame. For many, these labels work. Fear of being forgotten is powerful. Fear of losing status can override exhaustion, values, and even health. The system thrives on this fear because it keeps people moving even when movement no longer serves them. Keanu did not rush to correct these narratives. He allowed misunderstanding. He allowed silence to sit where explanations were expected. This refusal to defend his image removed the system's main weapon, urgency. When someone is not afraid of falling out of favor, pressure weakens. The system relies on the belief that success must be continuous and visible. A break in that illusion exposes how fragile it actually is. This is why such paths are rare. They demand tolerance for uncertainty. They require comfort with temporary loss. Most people are not trained for that. They are trained to chase reassurance, not resilience. But there is a cost to full compliance. Constant alignment with external demands slowly erodes inner clarity. You may remain successful while losing the ability to recognize yourself outside your role. The system does not hate individuals. It simply cannot reward those who refuse to be governed by fear. And that is why people who choose their own rhythm often appear as anomalies. Quiet, misunderstood, and strangely free. Most people don't live at the peak. They live in the middle or below it, with bills to pay, responsibilities to carry, and very little room for mistakes. For them, stories of success often feel distant or even painful, like reminders of everything that hasn't worked yet. This is where Keanu Reeves' philosophy quietly matters. Not as a model to copy, but as permission to breathe. It suggests that being behind does not mean being broken, that a slow path is not the same as a wrong one. When you are at the bottom, the pressure to become someone else is intense. To take any role, any job, any identity that promises relief, sometimes that is necessary. Survival matters. But this philosophy reminds us to notice what we are trading away in the process. It offers a different definition of dignity. Not success as applause, but success as the ability to keep going without self-betrayal. To do what must be done without losing sight of who you are beneath the role you temporarily occupy. For people rebuilding from zero, silence, patience, and restraint are not luxuries. They are tools. They protect energy. They reduce unnecessary comparison. They help you move forward without constantly reopening wounds caused by other people's timelines. This philosophy does not promise wealth. It does not guarantee recognition. What it offers is something quieter, the chance to arrive somewhere without feeling hollow. To succeed, if success comes, without feeling like you abandoned yourself along the way. Walking without light does not mean walking without meaning. It means trusting that movement itself has value, even when the destination is unclear. Even when progress feels invisible. Even when no one is watching. For those still struggling, this story is not a solution. It is a companion. A reminder that you are allowed to move at your own pace. That survival can coexist with integrity. And that choosing not to quit is already an act of strength. Some roads lead to success, some lead to understanding, and some lead to both, slowly, quietly, without guarantees. As long as there is a road, the journey continues. If this story stayed with you, you're in the right place. Follow the channel, more of this journey is ahead. These words are shared only here. Thank you for being here. Take care, and until we meet again.